Staff, Reince Priebus. Mr. Priebus, thanks for joining us again this morning.
Good morning, George.
Well, the president-elect has stirred up quite a firestorm with his latest tweet. Was this the right fight for him to pick?
Well, look, I mean, here's the issue. We look up to John Lewis and his historic contribution to civil rights and voting rights.
But the president-elect said he was all talk, no action.
But well, let me answer. But here's the problem. We need folks like John Lewis and others who I think have been champions of voter rights to actually recognize the fact that Donald Trump was duly elected. He's going to put his hand on the Bible in 5 days. And I think it's incredibly disappointing, and I think it's irresponsible for people like himself to question the legitimacy of the next United States president. I think putting the United States down across the world is not what a responsible person does. And so, look, I think, in fact, President Obama could step up. We've had a great relationship with the White House, George. We just had every cabinet person designee of ours meet with the cabinet members of the Obama administration on Friday. I've met numerous times with Dennis McDonough. They've been nothing but helpful. So I think the administration can do a lot of good by telling folks that are on their side of the aisle, look, we may have lost the election on the Democrat side, but it's time to come together.
But isn't it harder to do that after a tweet like that from the president-elect?
Well, wait a sec. But, George, hang on. John Lewis stood up in an interview and said that Donald Trump was not a legitimate president. That's insanity. And it's wrong. And DNI Director Clapper said as much many times, that there is no evidence that any outcome of the election was changed. President-elect Trump won 30 of 50 states, more counties since Ronald Reagan. This man won in an electoral landslide. And to question the legitimacy of the next United States president, you know, and you're worried about a tweet that says, hey, why don't you get back to work instead of questioning my legitimacy? Too bad. We just had Senator Sanders on the program. He did not question legitimacy of the president. Like he said, he's going to attend the inauguration, but he did say that it was right to bring up questions like this because of Donald Trump's past and questioning the legitimacy of Barack Obama with those years and years of questions about where he was born. Donald Trump's made it clear that, and certainly over the last few years, that President Obama was born in Hawaii. But the point is
not until the end of the campaign.
But hang on a second, George. We're not questioning the legitimacy of the election. You didn't have Republicans questioning whether or not Obama legitimately beat John McCain in 2008. For a person that is a champion of voter rights to question whether or not Donald Trump legitimately won an election or not is an incredible position to take 5 days before an inauguration. And so I think that it's an outrage, and I think it's wrong.
Some Democrats, including David Axelrod, have made that point at all. But it is a fact that Donald Trump was questioning whether President Obama was eligible to serve as president under the Constitution.
And many people were, George, but that issue's been resolved for years now, and it's been resolved for at least 2 years in Donald Trump's mind. And to bring that up as justification for John Lewis questioning the legitimacy of a democratic activity that has been around since the beginning of our country is wrong.
Just a factual point. He didn't stop raising those questions. He didn't stop raising those questions until late in this campaign. Not 2 years.
But look, George, that's not the point. The point is not where Barack Obama was born. The point is that we've got congressmen on the Democratic side of the aisle that are questioning the legitimacy of President-elect Trump, who won in an electoral landslide. That's the issue. That's where the outrage should be, not old news, but the fact that we are preparing for the transfer of power, and we have been working with President Obama hand in glove. And I think that they, including the president, should step up and get his people in line and tell them to grow up and accept the fact that they lost the election.
Let's move on to the issue of